Channel 5 Network. This is Sportsline.
Hey there, Steve Lehman here with you. Glad you are here with us on a Wednesday night on News Channel 5 Plus. This is Sportsline, and we have a special program for you tonight. A lot of sports fans in this area going to be familiar with the guy sitting next to me, Shan Foster, one of the best players in Vanderbilt Commodores basketball history, but now he does a lot of work here in the community with the YWCA and the Amend program. We're going to talk a lot about that and about a big event coming up this weekend and some other things they're working on for the future as well over the course of the next hour. Shane, first off, though, thanks for coming in. Always good to see you.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And I got to ask, after last night, a lot of Vanderbilt fans out there watching, I just feel sorry for your boys, man. They're so close yet again last night at Arkansas. Joe Toye with the huge three from the corner with about 39 seconds left in the game. It looked like they might get over the hump and get that first SEC win. Arkansas then answers on the other end. Pretty good defensive possession. They go down to the wire and hit a big shot and end up pulling that game out by a few points there. What do they have to do to get over the hump?
Well, I think they have to maintain a level of confidence in each other. I think that they have to continue to support each other, believe in the coaching staff, believe in what they're trying to build, and just really keep moving in a positive direction. For them to take Tennessee, the #1 team in the country, down to the wire the way they did, obviously another tough game last night, it shows that they have talent and that they're capable of winning. Games that are that close, can go either way. But I really do think that they just have to stick with it. But they are going to need somebody to step up and take the team on their back and really be a leader in that regard, make some tough shots and make what we used to call winning plays. And we saw some of those, but you have to have more in the SEC in order to win and be successful.
So early on in the season, we only saw it for 4 games and a little bit of change in the 5th game. Darius Garland was that guy. He basically made all those plays, made the shots at USC, then the knee injury. He's now headed to the NBA draft once he's healthy after that. So that on its surface is disappointment for Vanderbilt fans because he was the highest rated recruit to ever come to the program. But is there another guy on the roster that can fill that void and be that guy moving forward, do you think?
Well, I think Saban Lee has to be that guy. He's definitely talented enough. He's a guy that gets himself to the free throw line quite a bit, has great explosiveness, and has worked on his shooting ability this year. And so it'll be important for him to really dig down deep and put this team on his back, as Darius was able to do earlier in the season. He's no less talented. I think that the guy has done a lot of work in the offseason and has a lot more to give than what we've seen, although he's done some good things this year. But there's also some other guys on the bench, that can play well. Joe Toye was one of them that you mentioned already. It's his senior year. He's got to take some pride in how he closes out his career and what he's able to bring to the table. And everybody on that team has to dig down deep and bring a little bit more in order for them to be successful.
You never had a team that struggled like this, but is there any danger, especially when you have young guys? They keep putting themselves in position. You mentioned Tennessee, the Ole Miss game, the South Carolina game. You can kind of go on and on down the list. Then again last night, where they had an opportunity to win the game with 10 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes to go, and they haven't been able to pull it out. And now here they are at 0-9 in the SEC. Is there any danger of the cumulative effect of all of those heartbreakers for such a young team?
Well, I think there definitely is. It's something that you can't take lightly, and I know it's something that our coaching staff is really have a pulse on. But, I just believe that, even in some failures, there's some lessons to be learned. And so being able to go back and watch film and correct some mistakes and really pay attention to some of the smaller details that don't get a lot of glamour and nobody gets excited about, but it's the little things that help you to win games and to win them, consecutively and consistently. I think that, our free throw shooting is one of the areas that, hasn't been up to par as of late. And so being able to get into the gym and stay there until it feels right, paying attention to the defensive end, fighting for loose balls, winning those 50-50 balls and getting extra opportunities for your team, covering for each other more defensively and talking, communicating. There's some little things that I think this team could do to fight against that and to give themselves a chance to finish out the season strong. Is
there a way to teach winning plays like that? Or is that something that you have to learn by doing? You have to actually get over the hump to understand what it takes.
Well, I think that there has to be a certain attention to detail so that you're in position to do that. And that comes from not only watching film, but playing. On a regular basis, during the summertime, you got to play a lot of basketball so that you're continuously putting yourself in different situations so that once the season gets started, it's not something that's new to you. It's familiar. You know what to do. You can anticipate where the ball is going. You can anticipate people's moves and, what they might be doing. And so I think it's something that comes from experience for sure. I don't know that any coach can just, will a team into making those winning plays. But I do think that through attention to detail, studying the film, and really digging down deep to give more effort, I think that's something that's a byproduct of it.
There was a lot of excitement over the Bryce Drew hire and having his staff come in. Even more excitement when he landed this great recruiting class last year. The Garland injury has meant that they never got to see the full fruits of their labor on that. But for this season to go the way it is, as someone who loves Vanderbilt and played there, was a star there, and has a very good pulse on the program and the school, what's the excitement level right now about Bryce Drew and this coaching staff and the basketball program as a whole?
I think people are extremely optimistic. Considering the recruits that he's been able to get in, and really seeing some players mature and get better, and being able to overcome some adversity, and he has a prime opportunity right now to overcome some serious adversity. But I think the community as a whole is very optimistic. He's obviously not going to be able to maintain this level of recruiting every single year, but for him to have done what he did this year and the year before in terms of the recruits that we've been able to get in, I think it really sets a precedent that, kids want to come to Vanderbilt. That Vanderbilt's a great place to come and play. We're in one of the best cities in the country, and you're playing in one of the best conferences in the country. And so I think that what Bryce has been able to do, the people at large are excited about it and looking for that to pay off.
You played for Kevin Stallings, who had a long tenure at Vanderbilt. How has the program changed, and are you comfortable in the direction it's going under Bryce Drew and Roger Powell and company over there?
Well, I think, I have to take my hat off to Kevin Stallings. Anytime you're able to be at one place for 17 years, that's a long time, and it speaks to not only your success, but your rapport with kids and your ability to make people better both on and off the court. So my hat goes off to him. Certainly one of the best basketball minds in the game. And so I think what you see in Bryce Drew is a little bit of a different approach. The guys aren't running as many sprints as I did when I was in schools by any stretch.
They can either be a good or a bad thing, right?
Right. But I do think that Bryce has a really good rapport with the kids. He's probably the ultimate player's coach. If you're a guy that has some ability, some skill, and some work ethic, Bryce is a guy that's going to make sure that he's trying his best to put you in positions to be successful, but also encouraging you to be the best that you can absolutely be. So I'm pleased with the direction of our program. I think everybody can see what he's doing in terms of recruiting, and now just waiting for it to manifest on the court.
There's always some question about the facilities at Vanderbilt. I certainly think I'll go on record and say that the practice facilities and things like that could stand to be upgraded for that coaching staff as they try to recruit at this level. But when you walk in as someone who played and had so many special nights in that arena, do you still get the same vibe and feeling when you walk into Memorial Gym as you did running out there for layup lines before a game?
Absolutely. I go to games now and I'm wearing a suit and a tie, and I still want to get out there with them, and I still want to, feel how I felt. We've had the privilege of doing some charity games in the gym, and it brings back such great memories just to be out there and to be amongst other people. I think one of the things that's very special about our facilities is that they're on our campus. And I think, that's one of the things that's important about, upgrades and renovating and all those things is you want to maintain the college sports feel. People get excited to come on campus and have a game and really dive into the culture of Vanderbilt University. And when you think about Memorial Magic and what it means for our fan base to be in that gym and the history that comes along with that, you see some of the great teams represented in the Raptors and some of the great players still come back and be around the team. Those things are very, very valuable. So I think from that standpoint, while there are some upgrades that are necessary to make sure that we're able to compete with other teams, not only in the SEC but in the country, because we're essentially competing for recruits, I think what we have has been sufficient up until this point.
Shane, you're going to have to be careful about saying you want to get out there, because Bryce will probably try and find a way to get you another year of eligibility at this point and get you out there. If you had to go out there and play right now, how many could you put up today?
I think I could get back to my 20 points a game if I only played offense.
You're going to cherry pick on them now,
For sure. I don't know if the legs are in the shape that they were 10 years ago. But, every now and then I'm able to get back and play pickup with the guys during the summertime or something like that, and it's always an enjoyed experience.
Yeah, it's certainly an enjoyable experience watching you play there for your time at Vanderbilt, one of the best players in Vanderbilt history. This question will probably pain you a little bit, but as someone who knows basketball as well as you do, the sport, internationally even, what can you say about this Tennessee team and what Rick Barnes did? I know you're not necessarily rooting for them as a Vanderbilt guy, but to get to #1 in the country, they've won 17 in a row now. And the thing that is the most impressive to me is they don't have any of those recruits that we were just talking about that Vanderbilt brought in or that you're used to watching Duke or Kentucky bring in. These were guys that were all unheralded, under-the-radar guys that have been on campus now for a while, and he has molded them into something special. How good is this team in your mind?
I think they're extremely good, and I think it all starts with Grant Williams. He is such a phenomenal basketball player. Really reminds me of a guy I played against in Big Baby Davis that went to LSU. He had tremendous footwork, great athleticism, uses his body extremely well and uses angles very well. He was obviously the SEC Player of the Year last year and will probably repeat this year. So the buck stops with him, with Tennessee. And if you're unable to stop him, you're unable to stop them. And the reality is we don't have in college basketball or in the pros, we don't have bigs the way that we used to. You used to go into a team and, they had guys that were not only just big and tall, but they were very skilled on the inside. Most teams don't have a big man that is averaging 20 points a game or can go into any arena and score 40 points. Most people don't have that, and so they're not used to or accustomed to defending a big that is at that level, because there's just not that many around the country. So you think about that offseason work that I was talking about. Teams aren't able to prepare against a big that has those kind of moves and is able to do the things that great Grant Williams is doing. So when they get out there on the court, they're seeing it for the first time, and he is taking advantage of every opportunity possible. Rick Barnes doing a great job of putting them in position to be successful. But also when you think about their team, Josh Bone, who is their point guard, Jordan, sorry, this guy's a really good player. He's not a second-tier player by any stretch of the imagination. He's a guy that, has great trainers, has a great work ethic. He's a phenomenal kid and cares about the game deeply, works hard, and he's doing a great job for them. So I think from top to bottom, they're a really good team playing really good basketball, and they're going to be hard to beat if you can't find an answer for Grant Williams.
Jordan Bone, a Nashville kid that is really the example of developing in his time in Tennessee as a freshman. He was up and down kind of like a roller coaster. And now he's as steady as any player in the country at that point guard position. The Grant Williams thing, that may be one thing you can appreciate, given your game, your craftiness, your versatility, and your ability to score in the paint. That may be one thing you can appreciate about Tennessee basketball is Grant Williams kind of copying that mold and being able to do a lot of those same things.
Absolutely. He brings so much to the table, whether it's being able to face up and shoot the jump shot or 1-2 dribbles get by you. I mean, he's doing it in a plethora of different ways. And and he's no slouch on the defensive end as well. He's making his presence known and being a big body for his team, and really being a leader in that regard, you know, and watching him play, really taking that leadership to another level and calming guys down when they're getting too antsy or too dramatic in a situation, and bringing his team together and helping them to overcome adversity. I'm really proud of what Grant Williams is doing, but I will say, you know, there was a time when he was in high school, he really wanted to come to Vanderbilt University, you know, and for whatever reason got the impression that he wasn't good enough, you know, and so I think when we think about recruits and what star they are or the hype that they have behind their name, what's more important is really their work ethic, you know, and what they're able to do, the type of person they are both on and off the court, because some of those things, you know, basketball is basketball. Everybody in college, you know, played well in high school and averaged 20 points or more. I used to always joke and say even our walk-ons at Vandy averaged 20 a game. You know, nobody's a slouch, and so, but when you have that work ethic, there's something that you can't teach. Somebody's going to be a gym rat, is going to get in there and get better, and you couple that with not only opportunity but great coaching, being able to watch film, teaching them how to perfect their craft, then you get a great player, which is what we're seeing in Grant Williams. Those stars next to your name only mean something until you get on campus, and then you've got to earn the respect and the playing time and the accolades all over. He is Shan Foster, one of the great players in Vanderbilt basketball history. I didn't bring him in, though, just to talk about college hoops tonight, because he has an important mission on his docket every day and a huge event this weekend for the Amend program coming up, coupled with the Predators game on Sunday at Bridgestone Arena against the Blues. We're going to explain the event, and we're also going to dive into the Amend program. If you haven't heard about it, if you're slow to this train and you want to find out about it, we're going to get Shane to explain it all as we move forward here on the program. So stay with us. By the way, our phone lines are open, 737-7767, if you'd like to join in on the conversation tonight. More Sportsline coming right at you after this break. This is News Channel 5 Plus.